Good day, dear colleagues, partners, and all those who are interested in the project of Duyunov's induction motors. I'm Alexander Sudarev, and today we'll continue talking about ecology and ways of improving it. So, what is power crisis? It's a phenomenon that appears when the demand for energy products is much higher than the supply. Its causes can be in the area of logistics, politics, or physical scarcity. Power consumption is the indispensable condition for mankind's survival. The availability of power has always been necessary for satisfying human needs, increasing lifespan, and improving life conditions. According to the crude data for 2016-2017, based on the forecast of the International Energy Agency, affiliated with the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the world's primary energy resources are coal, 785 billion tons, enough for 240 years, oil 201 billion tons, enough for 32 years, natural gas 186 billion tons, enough for 56 years. It's worth mentioning that the primary energy consumption from 1995 to 2020 tends to grow on average by 2% annually. And now let's consider the main types of power plants. The production and distribution of electric energy in most countries is provided by means of building and operating TPS, thermal power stations. Their operation requires a high reserve of fossil fuel. The conditions of its production are getting more and more complicated every year, and its costs are getting higher. For example, 1000 MW is 370 tons of high-quality coal a day. 8,880 tons of coal is dispatched per day. One wagon load is 60 tons, so there are about 150 wagons per day. If you use cheaper coal instead of high-quality anthracite, you'll need much more of it. The efficiency factor of fuel at TPSs is not very high, about 40%, and the amount of environmentally harmful waste is rather big. All these factors reduce the viability of such production method. Using nuclear power. Nuclear power stations are engineered in almost the same way as heat power stations. Their main advantage is a small amount of fuel required. 1 kilogram of enriched uranium equals 2,500 tons of coil in productivity. That's why nuclear power stations theoretically can be built in any area, irrespective of the presence of available fuel resources nearby. Currently, the reserves of uranium on a planet are much higher than the mineral fuel, and the impact of nuclear power stations on our environment is minimal in case of accident-free operation. A huge and serious drawback of nuclear power stations is the possibility of a major accident with unpredictable consequences. That's why strong safety measures are required to provide failure-free operation. Besides, the production of electric energy by nuclear power stations is hard to regulate since the startup and complete shutdown takes several weeks, and the technologies of hazardous waste disposal are nearly non-existent. It's worth mentioning that the state of the world power industry is characterized by the number of contradictory features. Firstly, it's connected with uneven distribution of geological resources around the world regions. Thus, the biggest energy resources empires, providing over 2/3 of the overall world production of coal, oil, and gas, are Middle East countries, China, Russia, and partially Australia and the Republic of South Africa, but only in terms of coal production. At the same time, the countries of North America, Western Europe, and also Asia Pacific possess the least of energy resources, but they are the main consumers of raw materials. Secondary, uneven consumption of energy resources around the world regions. As a result, economically developed countries possessing the least amount of raw materials consume about 80% of energy resources that are extracted and produced worldwide. In the meantime, per capita energy consumption in these countries amounts to 11,000–12,000 tons of reference fuel, which is more than 6 times higher than the worldwide average figure of 2,000 tons of reference fuel. Thirdly, there is a distinct disproportion of the volume of various fuel types in the explored reserves and their share in energy production. Specifically, oil and gas provide 61% of the world energy production, though they account for only 26% of explored reserves. And coal, with the best proven reserves, 63.3%, provides only 26% of energy. According to other estimates, today coal accounts for 15%, oil 40%, gas 45%. Many car companies are concerned with scarce reserves of fuel resources and environmental harm resulting from the operation of the great number of internal combustion engines, both diesel and petrol. For example, the Volvo company stated that it would make electricity the main point of its business. From 2019, only 3 car types will be produced: completely electric, hybrid, and so-called mild hybrids combined in a small petrol engine and a big accumulator battery. Moreover, in 2050, a lot of countries want to stop selling petrol and diesel cars. In Paris at the World Climate Conference COP21 held by the United Nations, an unexpectedly ambitious statement was announced. Great Britain, Germany, the Netherlands and Norway, as well as a number of American states, are ready to ban using and selling fuel engine cars after year 2050. That's how reciprocating internal combustion engine that had been serving loyally for over a century was set the retirement date. Also about the transition to electric cars. In the USA, according to estimates of the independent agency EIA, if the whole vehicle fleet of 250 million vehicles is changed to the electric drive today, then at night, in the so-called off-peak period, there will be enough energy to charge 79% of cars. There is also daytime decline in electric energy consumption. In total, the free energy will be enough for the same 79% of cars. However, it's important for cars to arrive for charging not any time, but in the required hours. On the one hand, the matter is solved by using a smartphone application that will tell the optimal time for charging with electricity. But the world practice shows that this solution can lead to at least 21% of cars left uncharged. And it doesn't take into consideration the fact that probably not all car enthusiasts will be able to use charging device for their cars in application stated time. In this case, the percentage of cars unfit for operation can significantly rise. Thus, it can be concluded that the USA energy network with the current level of energy consumption is not ready for the global transition to electric transport. Based on everything mentioned above, we can make a conclusion that there is a lot of unsolved issues in the field of our planet's ecology, and energy holds the key position in this list. Currently, we're approaching the situation when the reserves of various fuel types on our planet can run short in the measurable future. Meanwhile, the ways of producing electric energy impossible to imagine modern humanity without are harmful for our planet's ecology. On this premise, Projekt of Duyunov's induction motors, alongside other companies that are concerned with our planet's ecology, can offer one of the ways of improving the current situation. Using the combined winding technology Slavyanka will help not only to reduce electric energy consumption, but also to increase the efficiency of electric energy production in some cases. I also remind you that a major part of produced electric energy is consumed by electric motors. But when we speak about electric energy consumption by some definite electric motor, we very often forget to mention how much electric energy and fossil material we spend to make this motor. One more peculiarity of the combined winding technology Slawjanka is the fact that it allows to use secondary materials produced after processing a classic electric motor. And that means that we can make 3 motors with Slawjanka combined winding type out of 2 standard induction electric motors. That's why, if you're concerned with the future of our planet and mankind on the whole, I'm offering you to learn more about the project of Duyunov's induction motors. To do that, you should subscribe to our channel and VK group and register in the personal account of our official website of Duyunov's induction motors project. I'm Alexander Sudarev. See you soon.